record on this computer. As soon as we go live here, I will. So someone can maybe watch the chat board on Facebook for questions. It's on my Facebook. It's just setting up, redirecting. Here we go. Looks like it's, there we are. Okay, we are live. Okay, good morning to people in North America, to Wendy and myself. Good evening to our special guest from Eastern Europe. And we also have a visitor from Australia, where it is 2 o'clock in the morning. And as I said earlier, if you want to be an Australian UFO researcher, you have to learn to work in the middle of the night, because it's always the middle of the night there when we're doing stuff. Good morning. Today is a very special show. I work on a number of sort of paranormal or whatever you want to call it phenomena. And I think that they all indicate how the universe actually works. And one of the one we have on today, I think, is maybe one of the more important ones, because it can actually be verified. It can actually be shown in a laboratory. It's not like UFOs where you're sort of waiting for it to show up and then it doesn't show up or whatever. So today we're going to do blindfold reading, which has a lot of implications. I talk about sort of the implications. So we've got some guests here, and we're going to have, of course, with this subject and with any other subject, we're going to have some skeptics. So last night I posted my little story about skeptics. The skeptic goes to the psychiatrist, and he says to the psychiatrist, he says, "I'm dead. I need help. I'm dead." And the psychiatrist said, "No, you're not dead." He said, "Yeah, I'm dead." "No, no, you're not dead." "Yeah, I'm dead." And he keeps trying to convince the guy. He can't convince the guy he's alive. And then finally says to the skeptic, he says, "So do dead people bleed?" And the skeptic says, "No." And then he gets a diabetic kid out, and he pokes the skeptic's finger, and the blood comes out, and he says, "Okay, so what do you say now? There's blood coming out of your finger." And he said, "Oh, I'm sorry. I was wrong. You were right. Dead people do bleed." So you're never going to convince a skeptic. So we just go on, and eventually the consciousness will rise high enough that people will get with the program and do the right decision. And we have even Leonie from Australia today. She's working now with a new generation of people who are training their kids with school. And this is going to be something I want to do an interview down the road. It's going to be exciting stuff when you see that kind of stuff, where it's actually getting into the schools of training consciousness inside the schools. Then I think we're making some headway. And it's an eternal world. It's what we do. It's not so much the end result that we're going to convince everybody, but it's what we do with the great gift that we've been given of understanding of how reality actually works. So I want to introduce my two producers, and people are going to ask questions here. Leonie from Australia and Wendy from Ontario, who's just east of me in the warmer part of Canada. I'm here in Winnipeg, where it's the coldest major city in the world. And I think it was like 35 below with the wind last night. So anyway, welcome, Wendy, and introduce our guests. You were trained, and I think Leonie was also trained by our guests today.
No, it was Rob and I took training, I think about 3 or 4 years ago, as I recall.
Yeah.
And it's Nikolay, Denisov, and Marina and they're into a lot more stuff than just that. But I have to say, when I took the course with them, I read, and I actually saw the room and everything in real time. And they're excellent. And I think when we had the interview with Nico, he explained all the other stuff that they're doing, also teleportation, astral and stuff. So I will, and I think Nico was going to be here today, but maybe not yet. So yeah, so I'd like to introduce Nikolay and Marina, and let them explain what they're doing these days.
Что мы делаем сейчас? Ну, мы продолжаем обучать людей, которые хотят развить способности своего мозга получать информацию.
So we continue to teach people how to see with eyes closed. So it's special people who likes to improve their brain, who wants to get more information from entire world. So for everybody who is interested in unusual human abilities.
Wow.
Thank you, Wendy. Nice to see you again.
Nice to see you.
Can you maybe talk a little bit about how you got into this and sort of explain to people, because we have some people on here who probably have not seen Blindfold reading or seeing with eyes closed. Explain what the concept is and how you got involved in this.
Расскажи немного об этом для тех, кто ничего не знает и хочет погрузиться в это. Скажи про видение с закрытыми глазами.
Да. У человека есть 5 информационных каналов, по которым он познает мир.
Everybody has 5 informational channels through which we receive all information about this world.
Это глаза,
So it's eyes,
уши,
ears,
кожа
skin, sense of touch, nose,
и язык.
and tongue.
Благодаря этому мы познаем окружающий нас мир.
So thanks for these 5 senses, we are able to get information from this world and research it.
Однако очень многие ссылают на то, что у них есть как бы дополнительный канал. Чаще всего его называют интуиция.
But sometimes some special people used to say, I have an additional channel. So sometimes I can get much more information. And we used to call this channel intuition.
Ну, например, как бы есть некоторая последовательность событий, которая должна привести, так сказать, к логическому концу.
Ну, пример.
Ну, например, купил билет в театр, но купил новое платье, заказал машину, следовательно, мы идем в театр.
So we could face, there are some events which follow one another. For example, if you bought a ticket in a theater, if you bought a special dress, if you ordered a car, if you fix a certain time, it means you are going to the theater.
Но жена говорит вдруг, ты знаешь, дорогой, не получится нам в театр идти.
But suddenly, wife could say, you know, darling, we are not going to the theater today.
Как не получится? Мы же купили билет, мы купили платье, мы заказали машину.
But you know, husband could react this way. How it's possible? We did everything to prepare this event. We did, no, we bought it. As I said, we have tickets, dress, and all.
Жена тоже знает и про билеты, и про платье, и про машину, но у нее есть еще один канал информации, который она называет интуиция, который противоречит всему этому событийному ряду.
But a woman, a wife, has additional channel which allows her to get a little bit more information. And she knows, of course, about these tickets and dress, but she has an extra information. And she allows herself to say, unfortunately, we are not going to the theater today.
Муж приходит с работы и говорит, ну ты просто ведьма,
No.
отменили спектакль.
And you know, the next day it could happen like husband arrive after work and could say, you're a witch probably, you know, the theater show was deleted.
Вот нас интересует этот дополнительный информационный канал, который уточняет информацию из окружающего нас мира.
So for us, it's interested very much this additional channel, which allows us to get a little bit more information and to make correct decisions in this life.
Называют его по-разному.
So there are a lot of names for it,
Интуиция,
like intuition,
ясновидение,
clairvoyance,
астральное видение,
astral vision,
эфирное видение
etheric vision,
и так далее.
and so on.
Но самое важное, этот канал дает нам дополнительную информацию в наш мозг.
But the most important part is this additional channel allows us to get special information directly to our brain.
И тогда наше поведение, если у нас больше информации, будет более осмысленной в нашей повседневной жизни.
And because we have such additional information, our behavior in this life become more correct.
Вот, собственно, мы и изучаем этот дополнительный информационный канал, 6-й информационный канал.
So we all our life almost we spend our time researching this additional 6th channel.
Мы получаем информацию по этому 6-му каналу, и в процессе тренировок мы должны убедиться, что этот канал дает нам правильную информацию.
We use this 6th channel, and the very important part is to train and to check this 6th channel. Do we receive correct information? Could we trust this channel?
Самый простой способ проверки, карты Зеннера все знают. Нужно посмотреть на карты Зеннера закрытыми глазами, используя 6-й канал. И сказать треугольник, квадрат или крестик перед тобой.
So the easiest way to check this channel is to use, for example, Zener cards. So, you close your eyes, you try to get information through your 6th channel, and then you open your eyes and check, is this triangle, square, or so on.
Поэтому мы не учим смотреть через закрытые глаза, это бессмысленно.
So we don't teach how to see with eyes closed. There is no sense.
Мы учим получать информацию по 6-му каналу, по новому 6-му каналу.
We teach how to get additional information through 6th channel.
Через закрытые глаза смотреть невозможно, ничего не видно.
So it's impossible to see through closed eyes.
Ничего не видно.
You could see nothing.
Если вы будете снимать энцефалограмму мозга,
if you would like to make like EEG researches with scientists,
то когда смотрите глазами, у вас работают затылочные доли головного мозга.
So for scientists, it's visible when you use your normal eyes, you activate this part of your brain.
Если у вас закрыты глаза, у вас здесь нет никакого сигнала.
So in a moment when you close your eyes, there is absolutely no signal in this area of brain.
Поэтому вопрос подглядывают, не подглядывают, возможно, невозможно, проверяется очень легко. Снимите энцефалограмму. Если в затылочной доле есть сигнал, значит участвуют глаза.
So there is no question for scientists, is it possible to read with eyes closed or not? If you use EEG and you close your eyes and continue to receive information, but this part of brain doesn't work, any signal, so it means it's possible. So
мы целый год снимали энцефалограммы в научно-исследовательском институте нейрофизиологии.
So we spent 1 year doing such researches in our famous Neuro Institute in Moscow.
В Москве. И было выяснено, что когда работает 6-й канал, то информация обрабатывается не в затылочных долях, а в височных долях головного мозга.
And one of conclusion after such researches was that information which we receive through new channel in our brain active not in this area, but in these areas.
То есть это образуется новый участок головного мозга.
So a new brain part appears after such classes as we do.
Мы становимся умнее, наша голова приобретает новый участок.
So we become smarter. Our brain get a new active brain part.
Да. Ну да. То есть, если у нас, у обычных людей работают 5 каналов, то у нас, у тех людей, которые тренируют свой мозг, получается 6-й канал.
So if ordinary people use just 5 channels to receive information, those people who was trained have an additional channel, so they're more successful in each decision they make in their lives.
И этот канал никак не связан с видео.
And this channel has no connection with vision directly.
Это канал, который дает нам информацию.
So this channel gives us information, but we compare this information with the vision channel in order to check it, just to check it in the beginning especially.
Да. Ну, например, представьте себе, что у вас на листочке бумажки нарисована фигурка, состоящая из 3 линий, которые соединены между собой под углом 60 градусов.
So try to imagine you have a piece of paper and there is geometrical shape which has 3 lines and 3 angles 60 degrees.
Что это такое?
What it is? Grant, please.
Triangle. Yeah.
Yes. Я дал вам только информацию,
So I gave you only an information,
а ваш мозг интерпретировал эту информацию в картинку треугольника.
but your brain, using such information, transform it in a picture, sort of
Да.
picture.
Так что 6-й канал – это чистая информация, а мы ее можем интерпретировать в картинку.
So you could get information through your 6th channel only like an information, and then your brain makes another part created, for example, in a picture. Но, может быть, и звук.
Тогда мы можем открыть глаза и убедиться, что мы правильно это выполнили.
And
Что 6-й канал правильно дал нам информацию.
and you are able to open your eyes to check it, to see the triangle in front of you and prove yourself it's real information.
Можно эту информацию, 3 линии соединены между собой, было трансформировать в звук.
But our brain could do something else. After you get this information, like I told you, angles, lines, you could hear an inner voice, which says you, this is triangle.
И многие дети действительно слышат этот внутренний голос и говорят: да, я посоветовался с игрушкой, она мне сказала, что это треугольник.
And it's common, especially for children. They used to say something like, my toy told me it is triangle. So it's normal for them to hear inner voice.
Да. Наверное, вы все играли в игру, когда вот так вот монетку зажмешь в кулачок и спрашиваешь, в какой руке монетка.
And probably you played such a game when you put some coin in your hand, then like mix it and ask where is the coin.
Мы делаем так серьезно, так, тут холодно, а тут тепло, монетка здесь.
So, and we used to do like this. This hand is cold, this hand is warm, so probably coin is here.
На самом деле температура тела одинаковая и здесь, 36,6 градусов.
And as you understand, we have the same temperature in each hand, 36.6 degrees, but
Но информация через 6-й канал пришла, что коин здесь, и интерпретирует тактильное ощущение.
and your additional channel gave you an information that the coin is here. So need to change temperature in order you understand where is the correct answer.
То есть, другими словами, мы можем и полученную информацию по 6-му каналу интерпретировать в любую известную нам канал восприятия. Можем в видеоканал, можем в слуховой, можем в тактильный, можем в запаховой. И когда проверить для проверки правильности работы 6-го канала.
So as you see, first part is to get information through your 6th channel, and then up to you which channel to choose to check this information through vision, through hearing, and other senses also. Probably you have heard such senses like bad deal smells bad. Also, if you dislike it, you could say, I'm not going to be involved in it, I dislike smell.
Почему мы тренируем этот 6-й канал до уровня видеоканала? Потому что видеоканал самый мощный канал в нашей жизни.
So why did we choose to compare this additional channel with vision? Because the majority of information, like 80% of each information, we receive through our eyes.
Поэтому если 6-й канал натренируется до уровня видеоканала, мы получим еще 60-70% дополнительной информации в наш мозг.
So if we are able to train our additional channel like vision, like we have additional 60, 70, 80% of information we could get.
Да. То есть на самом деле этот навык необходим людям, которые активно работают своей головой.
And we think such ability, such skill are very important for those people who used to use their brain in their life. Например,
Активно.
actively. It's important. They need additional information.
Это люди, которые имеют с большим массивом поступающей информации.
These are those people who used to work with a lot of information during the day and necessary to make a lot of decisions during the day.
И иногда даже это большой массив информации для бизнесмена, который заключает буквально минутный контракт, минуту назад уже как бы информация была такая, через минуту она может измениться. И тогда нам нужен вот эта вот ускоренная обработка информации.
We used to work with businessmen who need to make decision very often, almost every minute need to make decision, and they know information you get now, so it's information has time. So if you get information, you need to fix it immediately. So yes, 1 minute later, this information could be old. So for them very important.
Мы, конечно, работаем с людьми, которые исследуют что-то необычное.
And we used to work with those people who are interested in something unusual.
Потому что наши известные 5 каналов не всегда отображают, если что-то мы сталкиваемся с чем-то необычным, например, с необычным движением энергетики, которую глазами нельзя видеть.
Those people who are interested in something unusual, they used to understand that often, very often, our 5 channels doesn't allow us to catch correct information from the world. For example, some energetical movement.
Глазами мы не можем видеть, а вот этот 6-й канал позволяет нам видеть течение энергетики в пространстве.
And as we know, our eyes doesn't allow us to see this energetic movement, but additional channel help us.
Мы глазами можем видеть только то, что мы когда-нибудь видели.
Our eyes allows us to see something we saw before. So we compare new information with something we saw before.
То есть у нас есть некоторая библиотека информации в затылочных долях головного мозга, и мы сравниваем новую информацию с тем, что уже записано там.
So we have certain library of images in our brain, and each new information we compare with images we already have in our library.
Представьте себе, мы сталкиваемся с чем-то необычным, и в библиотеке нету такой информации.
And if to imagine we face with something unusual, like there is no image in our library, we feel like confusion, but no image at all, only feeling. Maybe something happened, but what it is.
Например, я могу рассказать о случае, который произошел со мной.
Nikolay has his own example.
Я закончил институт, начал работать в министерстве, и меня попросили встретить вьетнамскую делегацию.
So when Nikolay just graduated after university, he worked in a Ministry of Foreign Connection, and his boss told him, please go to the railway station to meet a Japanese professor. Vietnamese, sorry.
Дали мне портрет, я стою и жду на перроне.
So he had a portrait, and he was ready to meet a known person.
Подходит поезд, выходит огромное количество вьетнамцев, и все как один похожи на мой профессор.
And you understand, when a train arrived, and all of them appear, so each of them for Nikolay looked the same way like his professor on a picture.
У меня в моей библиотеке нет черт азиатского лица.
So in that moment, in his library of images, he has not any characteristic of Asian faces. Any. It was so.
И они все для меня кружочек и глаз.
And it was impossible to recognize correct person.
Да. Самое интересное было на следующий день, когда я вез их на переговоры, руководитель попросил сесть рядом с ним.
And the next day, when Nikolay bring those delegation to the negotiation, the chief of Vietnamese delegation asked, please sit with us.
Я говорю, ну, обычно мы сидим с одной стороны, вы с другой стороны.
And he said, but you know, the rules should be like your part of delegation in one part of the table, we should sit on opposite part. Like,
Он говорит, я знаю, но мы вас не распознаем.
and he says, I know, but we couldn't recognize you. So for us, you look similarly.
То есть у него нет черт европейского лица в его библиотеке, и он затрудняется с нашим распознаванием.
So the same situation was repeated. He also had no any images of European faces in his library of images.
А теперь представьте, мы встречаем инопланетянина, а у нас нету никаких записей об инопланетянине.
And you could imagine the situation if we met alien, we couldn't recognize him because we had no any images this way.
А вот этот канал даст нам информацию. Да, здесь есть объект, да, он выглядит ни на что не похожий, но объект существует.
But this part of brain allows us to recognize, first of all, there is somebody, and it's possible to recognize few details. For example, first impression, and then to continue to go deeper in it.
Да. То есть этот канал дает очень много преимуществ даже в обычной практике. Допустим, консилиум врачей, у всех анализы, 3 врача смотрят на эти анализы и говорят, нет, кризис не миновал. А 3-й доктор говорит, нет, миновал.
Okay, you could imagine other situation like 3 doctors see 3 analyses of one person and 2 of them who have one opinion and one of them says, crisis gone, everything is okay.
Да. Они говорят, где написано про это? Мы же смотрим одинаковые анализы. Где ты прочел?
And 2 other doctors could say, how do you know? We see the same analysis. How do you know that everything is okay already?
Он говорит,
Just intuition. Like,
опыт мне подсказывает.
They used to say, my long experience. I have a huge experience.
Да. То есть дополнительная информация нужна всем.
So everybody needs such additional information.
Докторам,
For doctors,
художникам,
artists,
ученым,
scientists,
бизнесменам.
businessmen.
Как бы дополнительная информация всегда более правильное решение в повседневной жизни.
So additional information allows us to make correct decision in our life. Well, shortly about what are we doing?
Can you describe the process that you take people through and how long does it take? And do you do it on the internet, or talk a little bit about the work that you do for people?
Oh, of course, we prefer to travel, like, you know, and I remember time when we visited Australia, America, and Europe, and have never been in Canada yet. Waiting.
Well, we tried really hard. Well, COVID stopped all of that, so.
A little bit easier to work with people who are sitting together, not by internet.
Yeah.
Because sometimes it's necessary just to change body position, and a vision will be a little bit easier, better, less longer to describe, easier to do. But actually, of course, I remember, I don't know, maybe 15 years when Skype just appeared. So 15, 20 years ago, we started to train people by Skype. Of course, it's also possible. Our first results, adults are able to get after 5 days of training. Wow. 5 days, 2 hours per day, hard work, a lot of focusing on the information, but to see first shape, first letter, first number with eyes closed is possible after just 5 weeks. Of course, if you want to fix a result, to do it bigger, better, longer, we prefer to do 1 month training. And then we have like personal connection with each student to create the best schedule for them.
Это обосновывается тем, что по данным нейрофизиологов устойчивые нейронные связи формируются в течение 20, по крайней мере, 21 дня.
We choose this schedule because, as a neuroscientist says, to fix new neural connection in our brain, to create a new habit, to fix new neural connection, we need at least 21 days.
Okay.
So no, this is the way our brain works.
Да. Потому что то, что за 5 дней получилось, через 5 дней исчезнет.
No, as you understand, you are able to get first result during after 5 days of training, but if you stop your training, no, it will disappear during next 5 days.
In America, there's a lot of skepticism. You mentioned working with an institute in Moscow, a neurological institute. Is there an attitude? Are they investigating this stuff scientifically in Russia, or is it still a private thing like people like you are doing?
It was not easy to start such researches even in Moscow, and of course, scientists, people everywhere are too skeptical, and we are glad that we started it with our friend, and when we get serious results, we were able to discuss and to see the president of our medical academy to show them result, to prove because it's real.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, we are ready to repeat, to do it better in any country with those people who are interested to research more. Because again, everybody has brain, but actually we use 3-5% of it.
Yeah.
So if we are able to get new result and to fix it with those machines, with those devices we already have, I think it's necessary to do. But the best way, if to dream about future, we need not scientists. We need physics who are able to create a new paradigm of the world, then to make a formula, then engineers could create special devices, and then each scientist will be happy to do researches using these new machines. Because, even EEG, it's not directly what happens in the brain, and tomograph, it's like side effect, not directly what happens in the brain. But it's interesting topic to prove, to research, maybe to find a way to learn student faster, also important part.
Дело вот в чем. Когда президент Академии медицинских наук Покровский собрал совещание Академии медицинских наук, был задан вопрос мне, вот энергетическое взаимодействие с человеком, которое как бы используется в том числе при обучении вот этому видению, оно носит электромагнитный характер или нет?
So when we had this time when we show our results of researches in this Ministry of Medicine Academy, so one person asked, you use energy, you use your own energy during the way you study, you teach people. Is this energy influence has electromagnetic waves?
Я говорю, нет.
Nikolay said, no, there is no
Это
electromagnetic signals. It is another type of energy.
Потому что электромагнитный сигнал экранируется обычной металлической сеткой, сеткой, фольгой.
Because electromagnetic signal could be destroyed by a metal shield, any metal shield.
А даже если мы обернем голову фольгой,
and even if we will use a foil this way around our head,
мы все равно сможем видеть то, что находится вокруг нас.
So we are still able to receive information and to see images around us.
Тогда один из участников этого большого собрания сказал: Николай Николаевич, тогда вы для нас просто не существуете, потому что у нас на вооружении только электромагнитные приборы.
And then one scientist said, Mr. Denisov, because of what you said, unfortunately, you didn't exist for us. You don't exist for us. So why? Why? What happened? Because we use only electromagnetic devices to measure. Mhm.
А ученый начинает свои исследования с измерения.
And you know, each scientist start their researches from the beginning, measure. They used to measure everything.
А если у нас нет приборов, которыми мы вас можем померить, вы для нас не существуете.
And because we have no devices we're able to use to measure you, so you don't exist for us.
Поэтому ваш путь к физикам,
So your way to physics.
которые создадут новую теорию поля.
So they need to create a new theory of the field,
Не электромагнитную.
not electromagnetic.
Тогда инженеры сделают прибор, а мы с удовольствием будем вас мерить.
And after that, with new devices, we will be happy to measure everything you're able to do.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
Maybe you know somebody young.
Yeah, I was just going to bring up have you been contacted by the Ion Institute? It was started by the Apollo astronaut Edgar Mitchell to study consciousness. They've been working on it since the 1970s. In fact, I think when the Russians were working on what we call remote viewing, that's what started the Americans. The Americans realized, oh, the Russians are working on this, so they started to look at it, and Edgar Mitchell got the funding for them. Have you been contacted by the Ion Institute? Because they have an understanding of things that are beyond electromagnetic field and stuff. And what would you be able to demonstrate for them in terms of seeing? Because the other thing they would want is the reproducibility. Can you produce this phenomena all the time? So have you been contacted by them? Because Wendy, I think, has had interactions with them, and they would be an interesting. I don't know if you've been contacted by them.
So Edgar Mitchell visited Moscow, I think in the 90s.
Yeah.
And actually Nikolay was there. We have a picture with him.
Wow.
But maybe it's need to refresh such contacts. But you know, it was almost
Я как раз
25
спрашивал его,
years.
есть ли аналогичные исследования в Америке. Он сказал, что да, исследования есть. Но они тоже, так сказать, тогда были в начальных пути.
So almost like 25 years ago, Nikolay asked, do you have same researchers in USA? And he said, of course we have. But again, 25 years ago, it was almost the same level like in Russia. So it was no so many information to share. Maybe now it could be another way.
Wendy, maybe you can jump in on this, because you were contacted by Ions Institute by Dean Radin.
Right, yeah.
Do you think we could work on maybe something to try to get?
Yeah, I can contact him. I contacted him just recently about Sebastian, who remote views and stuff. And so I can contact him and see if he's interested for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, it would be interesting to see them go to the Ions Institute in California and spend a week there and let them demonstrate, because I think that's what they're looking at. They understand the principle that there are these things. Dean's written a number of books on it. He understands the principle, but they're looking for subjects and experiments and stuff like that. I think we should work on something like that and try to get them brought over to America to work with the Ions Institute.
Mm-hmm.
Есть идея по институту в Калифорнии тоже рассказать, попробовать поисследовать. В общем, это такая программа небольшая.
Ну, мы готовы всегда сотрудничать с учеными, потому что наши исследования сейчас в России практически... Ну, потому что как бы мы все, что могли сделать здесь, мы сделали.
Of course, we are open for any contact for new researchers, especially with people who are really interested in human ability. It's
Being raised is
for us, it's
totally-
our life actually, to teach people, to research, to find something new in this world.
Да, потому что мы действительно ищем что-то новое. И у этого видения есть очень интересное продолжение, когда вот это прямое видение может перейти, как мы...
And this vision with eyes closed, it's only first step. And actually each our new practice have a base, like vision with eyes closed. But actually a remote vision, much more interesting than direct vision. Our practice with energy, actually healing, teleportation. And when we used to travel and to meet great masters, grandmasters in other countries who used to work with energies. It also help us to get knowledges from them using additional channel. No need to spend 40 years in China, like it's traditional way to get new abilities. Just few days, few weeks, and we are able to continue to train ourselves in new energetic way. So it's really interesting.
Wow. You mentioned teleportation. I know that the Chinese, they discussed the Chinese children are working on this. What kind of abilities have people got in terms of teleportation? And do you have levitation as well? Because we heard about this as well, the levitation thing.
Расскажите про детей, про телепортацию немножечко, и занимаетесь ли вы левитацией?
Ну, если разговор зашел про детей, то дети очень легко обучаются вообще всем новым навыкам.
If you ask about children, the main answer is children used to learn everything faster than adults. So it doesn't matter vision or teleportation. It's really easy.
Right, Leonie?
Если для взрослого требуется 21 день, то для ребенка требуется 15 минут для того, чтобы научиться видеть.
And if to compare adults and children, if adult need 21 days to fix result, actually for child it's enough 15 minutes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Мы снимали фильм в Австралии,
Да.
рассказы о людях с необычными возможностями. И режиссер просто пригласил детей сотрудников и сказал: а вот попробуйте, покажите на примере детей. И буквально через 15 минут они начали видеть мячики, там, эти грибочки.
Actually, in Australia, we were with a special target. We were invited to be filmed in a movie about people with unusual abilities. And in one moment, director of the movie, do you remember this movie, The Secret?
Yep,
The Secret.
yep.
So the same director
Okay.
created a new part. And in one moment, he asked, "Is it possible to add, like, children's energy in our movie? Could you teach them?" Of course, we said, "Just find the children for us."
Wow.
And just children of their footage team, like, of this, they bring their children, and it was so easy. So we never saw them before. It's time to record our class. We just really 15 minutes, and they started to see some simple objects like an apple, some toys.
Yeah.
Really pleasure to work with children. We prefer to work with adults because the idea is to research more. So with adults, it's easier to discuss this interesting theme. And of course, our students is our colleagues.
Да. Дети, у детей мозг все время чему-то обучается.
Children used to learn everything each minute.
Кататься на велосипеде, залезать на дерево, купаться, плавать. То есть они все время учатся, поэтому для них научиться видеть с закрытыми глазами – это одно из многих умений.
Because children used to learn something new each moment, like to ride bicycle, to swim, new language, like, a lot of things. For them, it's so natural to start to learn something new, so no obstacles at all.
Да. И у детей другая физиология мозга.
And also children have another physiology of brain.
У взрослого человека мозг разделен на определенные кластеры, которые отвечают за определенные умения.
As you know, adult's brain has certain parts which are responsible for certain activities.
И создать новый кластер для взрослого человека это очень сложно.
And to create a new cluster, especially for vision, actually it's hard enough.
А у детей нету еще этих кластеров, у них участвует весь мозг в освоении нового знания.
But children has no such clusters, all their brain involved in the learning process.
Поэтому чисто физиологически детей обучать легче, чем взрослых.
So even physiologically, it's easier to teach children, and psychologically also.
И психологически, и физиологически.
They don't afraid to make mistakes. They don't punish themselves. I'm not like other people. I did 5 mistakes already. It's horrible.
Да.
Not
Но нам интересно обучать взрослых, потому что это люди сознательно хотят увеличить информационный поток, который им нужен в жизни. То есть это сознательное обучение.
And adults has consciousness and conscious intent to use it in their life, to make their life more successful, more interesting, more useful for others. So other part of intent.
Да, для них это важно.
So for adults it's really important.
Поэтому для меня интересно работать с этими людьми, которые будут использовать это в повседневной жизни.
So I prefer to work with adults who are going to use it every day.
Да. То есть это реальная помощь.
So it's really help for them to have such ability.
Yeah. We did have Leonie's grandson. We had a couple of interviews we did with him, and he was driving a car, and he actually was doing a demonstration on camera, and he was, I think, 13 at the time. And then I challenged Leonie that we should have some Olympic teams for kids, and they have the little thing where they like to play games. They run through and the different colors, and they're doing stuff. And thanks to Leonie, she actually had uniforms for them. But unfortunately, we didn't get any other teams. The Canadians didn't come up with a team, and the Americans. And so if we do come up with a team, you can train the Russian team, and we'll have the Australians are ready to go. And we just got to convince there's a group of martial arts teachers in Utah in the United States who also train in this art. So we can maybe convince them, but the children, as you point out, are much easier to train because the brain is more open. It's not this little voice talking all the time. Any questions, Leonie and Wendy? Let's open it up to you because I've done all the talking here.
Well, I do know that, and I think you mentioned it before, I do know that Nikolay does do teleportation, if he could elaborate more about that. I've had so many people contact me wanting your contact to be taught teleportation, but I can't imagine that being able to be done over the internet on Skype or whatever.
Хочется немножко коснуться телепортации, потому что очень привлекательно, и даже Венди коннектит дай контакты, он говорит, я придерживаюсь, потому что я не уверена, можно ли учить через интернет. Самое время сказать, что сейчас не набираем прямо сейчас. Ника.
Ага. Телепортация, которая, так сказать, модель работы с энергетикой, которая обеспечивает изгиб пространства, что и обеспечивает телепортацию.
Давай, не
так.
все подряд.
Да,
Они
да.
уже устали, поэтому чуть-чуть. Можно ли учить через интернет телепортацию?
Значит, по интернету учить возможно.
So it's possible to teach people to do teleportation by internet.
Но если видение – это информационная практика, и она не требует большого количества энергии.
I want to divide vision with eyes closed. It is informational practice, and so we don't need to use a lot of energy to develop vision.
А телепортация – это энергетическая практика, то есть там нужно очень мощную энергетику.
But teleportation is energetical practice. So a person needs to have certain preparation and certain skills already to work with energy. And a lot of energy may be gifted even amount of energy.
Кроме того, человек должен уметь этой энергетикой пользоваться, то есть он должен собрать ее со всего тела в определенном месте.
And if a person wants to do teleportation, he should be able not just have great amount of energy, but also to be able to work with it. For example, to connect all energy in a one place in his body.
А потом заставить эту энергетику с очень большой скоростью выйти в пространство через верхнюю чакру.
And then another level is also important, to send this amount of energy with a very high speed through the top of the head.
Сахасрара.
No, you know this chakra Sahasrara.
Почему через верхнюю чакру? Мне нужно, чтобы эта вся энергетика имела очень высокую частоту или яркую светимость.
And this energy needs to have highest frequency and high light. So a lot of conditions before to start to explain what to do. And of course, for us, it's easier to explain and to work with those people who already know how to see with eyes closed. They're able to see with eyes closed, so they're able to see the energy, not to imagine, really see, and all these details, quantity, quality, speed, and so on, frequency. Then it's better to have energetic classes before. And during energetic classes, we do a lot of exercises in a pairs. So you have immediate feedback from other person. For example, did you say, did you push your energy or pull, like immediately? And then logically, correct time to practice teleportation.
Когда нас пригласили в Германию провести класс по телепортации, я сказал, это должны люди, которые умеют работать со собственной энергетикой.
So when we were invited in Germany to do this teleportation class, so we told it's necessary to gather a group of students who already practice with energy during a few years.
Они говорят, да, они все великолепные энергетики. Я говорю, все равно мне нужна неделя сначала заниматься энергетикой, и только потом я буду им преподавать телепортацию.
And of course, an organizer said, of course, yes, our students are very experienced, so just right. And even with prepared students, we had 1 week for energy class.
Oh, wow.
To teach them certain way. And only after that, we started to practice teleportation.
Да. Поэтому упражнения достаточно сложные, и я предпочитаю это делать, ну, как бы в непосредственном контакте.
And of course, it's not easiest practice. It's already for prepared students. And of course, Nikolay prefer to work with teleportation group face by face. And of course, it's not about 1 month teaching. More or less stable result after 1 year. And after that, it's possible to think about something bigger.
Would it be the same as levitation? Same kind of energy work?
Такая же работа с левитацией.
Я не занимался практикой левитации.
I didn't work with levitation.
Поэтому не могу сказать, такая или не такая.
I couldn't compare. Is it the same way or not?
Okay.
На свете очень много необычных практик.
But as you know, there are a lot of practices in the world.
Например, когда мы приехали на Бали обучаться мастера телепортации, он нам поставил условие, что если мы зажгем чучело, которое стоит в пальмовых листьях в 30 метрах, тогда он будет с нами заниматься телепортацией.
And even when we arrived to Indonesia to learn from a great master teleportation, he told us, I will teach you teleportation after you will be able to show me how you do pyrokinesis. So like an example for us was to use pyrokinesis, which we never did before also. But visa has a certain time. It was necessary for us to get first result before we go there. But
То есть он демонстрирует удивительные возможности. Он зажигает чучело, которое стоит в 30 метрах от него своей энергетикой. Но мне не нужна эта практика в моей повседневной жизни.
And as you understand, our interest was in teleportation. Actually, it looks amazing when master do like this, and this like a toy from leaves become burn. It's really impressive. And this toy, like in 30-meter distance, it's impressive. But actually, for us, it's like, it's better to be focused on something directly. So if we're interested in teleportation, only teleportation is important. But for him, it was easier for us to show energy movement using another exercise. So it was his way to show us how to work with energy. So we did it.
Практика очень эффектная. Зажечь где-нибудь в ресторане свечи на столе, и все будут хлопать. Но она для меня бесполезная.
No, it's impressive. It's nice to sit in the restaurant to make like this, their own candles, like, burn. But actually, it's not my interest. I'm not a showman. My idea is to research and to teach.
Поэтому левитация, хорошая практика, как и зажигание этого, но она для меня не представляет интереса, потому что, подняться над землей, немножко пролететь. Вот для меня практического применения в жизни я не вижу этим как практика.
And for us, like levitation, like pyrokinesis, like telekinesis, a little bit simpler than teleportation. And to use in our...
Они все хорошие.
Not simply, they are good, but не используют.
Не используются.
But I don't know how to use it in my life and how it helps me to get results in teleportation. But this is a good example of how to use energy.
Мы вот сейчас с вами говорим на большом расстоянии, а если бы я освоил практику перемещения, мы бы могли все сидеть за столом в Калифорнии.
And human body teleportation, it's a topic we are focused especially. We have some spontaneous result, but not like, conscious result yet. But could you imagine we could sit in the same place, not in our country, for example, in Wendy's home or in Nika's? Do you recognize Nika?
Yeah, Nico just joined us.
Hey, y'all look younger today.
If we were to have an American team, Nico would be the captain.
Yeah, for sure.
Jump in, Nico, and make a comment or ask a question.
Yes, definitely. So I'd like to share something very amazing. So we're at a ranch right now, and we had a knock on the door, and one of the horses fell out really bad, and it was his eyes was turning gray, and it was blinking slowly for about 20 minutes. And the host knocked on the door, and I was on a phone call with this lady, and we were talking about resurrection power. And then I get a knock on the door, so I go out there, and I said, "Don't worry," because they were crying with her and her husband. I said, "Don't worry, watch this." So I put my hands on the horse for about 10 seconds, and the horse popped up so fast and came to me and was I'm not the owner, but it was giving me gratitude, and it knows what happened, and it was beautiful. The lady's giving me a testimony today of what happened yesterday. But it's the teleportation of love.
That is amazing. Oh my gosh, that's what I'd love to be able to do. I've had a couple of experiences having animals talk to me, and it was the most amazing thing ever to just turn and look at you, and it's just amazing.
It is. Definitely, we're all glad we're here. We're on a big movement. Wendy, Nikolay, Marina, as we all been. We crossed paths in a mutual way, and yeah, we're bringing a great project here, and Grant hosting what he's hosting here, and being interested in all this stuff since for a long time. We're on a great journey and a great mission, and here we go. The platform's starting now.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Talk a little bit about your platform, because they may have
Mm.
some new people. You're starting a new platform that will demonstrate and teach and
That's
this kind
right.
of stuff.
Yeah, so we're adding Nikolay and Marina on there as well. We just had another good friend of ours join in. And it's a guy, I don't know if Nikolay Marina, if you heard of him before. His name's Michael Grubb from Evolved Ministry, and he's really big on the aerokinesis and hydrokinesis, and he's actually one of the best that is known in public or online. He was in 4 different branches of the military, but that stuff's going great. I also got a great call yesterday of some property in Mesquite, Honduras, right where the Mayan pyramids are. And we have access to it, property, cave, waterfall, and we're planning on building like a Hogwarts Harry Potter school. So we got the paperwork and a lot of stuff going through, things moving fast, and excited to go out there with our magic wands.
Wow, so amazing. Uh-huh.
Thanks.
That's what I'm setting up here, a Hogwarts school.
Yep.
Yes.
Yes.
Talk
Oh,
a little bit about your school, or what you're doing there, what you're planning.
Well, I've been doing the home-based schooling with the children, and mainly working with autistic kids and watching their magic. I mean, they're teaching me more than I'm teaching them. And I've always felt that I'm just reminding them of what they've already had present, and just enabling them to recognize their own information that they've always had. And it's all evidence-based gaming that we do here. So any sort of telekinesis or remote viewing through gameplay, teaching them to trust their own messages. That's all it's about. And that's what I say to people when they bring their kids in for me to teach, that it's not necessarily about just seeing through the blindfold. It's about developing that intuition. And then I get family groups and they start connecting as a collective consciousness. And my own family group forever has done the intuitive side, has been amplified anyway. We will connect with each other if we get a sense of something, and we will connect with each other and say, do you feel it? Do you feel it? What do you think it is? And we trust each other's information as to like whether we should get in the car and go anywhere that day, because we can feel something and we all feel it together. And the kids are doing that now that I'm teaching. And I've just had a lady contact me that's setting up a school. She's ex-circus. She's a circus performer and she's still doing it at 54. She's amazing. And she was bringing in kids to do aerial silks and acrobatics and juggling and other things. And she decided to, she had an awakening experience, and she decided to step forward and bring new modalities into her school. So she's just recently decided to set up a school with consciousness teachings across the board, like expressive dance, intuitive painting, meditation. She's brought me in. So this and survival skills, all sorts of modalities that heighten awareness, basically. So I'm really excited to start that next week only. It's just sort of on the ground level, and there's only a few students. But I've been feeling this coming for about 5 or 6 years. I've been feeling it coming, and I know that it's going to grow. So evidentially, it'll be obvious, because the more kids you train, the more kids will develop this skill set, and it'll just ripple effect. It'll just start affecting the people around them, and it's like it'll be acknowledged without knowing it's being acknowledged, because it'll start to become normal.
Normal, yeah. And like, instead of the kids not wanting to tell their friends, it'll turn into them bringing all their friends. Yeah.
There's a bit of stigma around that, and they have been bullied in the past about what they're doing. So most of the parents don't want me to tell anybody that they're doing this, because they don't want to be, you know, They don't want to be, well, the kids don't want to be accused of lying. So
Yeah.
it's been a little bit difficult, but I hope with this new school and the more kids come into the fold, it's going to become more normal. Yeah, and it won't be such a big deal. And it'll develop from there. It's going to go a lot further. I can feel it. I'm really excited about it.
Awesome.
Nico had a good idea of sort of calling it a Harry Potter school, because the kids would see it like the movie and this kind of stuff. It's an interesting concept where I think we've got already Australia and Russia and Nico in America and Central America, and Wendy, you're doing some training as well. You're training a blind woman as well, correct?
Yes, she's lost one eye and she's got cataracts in her other eye, and she came to me to see if I could help her. And I've only done 2 or 3 sessions with her, but she's already seeing images, seeing pictures, seeing that. So I'm going to continue on with that. So yeah, very cool. And she's in her 60s, and she's doing really well. So yeah, and I hope to do more, but I want to expand myself also. So
Wow. So and Rob Freeman is also doing training in your area. You're in Ontario, Canada, correct?
yes, Rob, I think he is training an absolutely blind man. He just came to him. I think he's only done 2 sessions with him. He's been totally blind since he was 10 years old. And then he's also been training Claudia, who is slowly losing her sight. I think he's been training her for about a year and a half now. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah.
Wow. Is there a website? Can everybody sort of spell out their websites, or is there a place where we can link all these websites in one place where people can make contact to the people that are here today?
Yeah, we could probably put it in the comments or whatever.
Yeah.
The video, whatever. Sure.
Yeah. Because you have Nikolay, and you have a website, and you have videos there that demonstrate. What's the name of your website for people that might want to try to contact you, or is that the best way to contact you?
We sent you a link with our website.
Okay. Okay.
And I think, isn't Nico helping you set up? I think he was telling me are you helping them set up a new website? Or something?
We haven't got on theirs yet, but we have a lot of detailed plans, and we're going over slideshows and putting a lot of stuff together with the event. And then once we get organized with that, we're bringing that together. So just like Grant was saying as well, about a one-stop shop is what we're working to build with each other. So we're equal among the equal, and everyone can have access to everybody on a giant search engine that goes out there and bringing the right people in and what we're working and what we're doing.
Are you encouraged with what's going on? I mean, I can ask everybody, do you see that we're actually making some headway now as compared to the past?
I think in my case, it's becoming more accessible, even though I told a girlfriend of mine who isn't into this stuff, and I told her one of her experiences and one of my experiences, and she told me I was just weird. But I think the more we talk about it, the more it'll get out there. So, and make it more visible on our websites, and just keep talking about it. And I think training people and getting them talking to their friends and getting them to see and getting them to experience more intuition, not only just the seeing, but more intuition and feeling more confident with themselves. That's what I'm finding what's happening with some of the people I deal with. So yeah, but I think the world, the word just has to get out there and people accept it.
Perhaps we
Yes.
can maybe do a video where people have little clips, because people like to look at the little clips of demos and put them all in one and demonstrate that. Because I've got fairly large number of people, but there a lot. You know what the internet is like now. I think they said the attention span is like 17 seconds per story that people are flipping through, and they like the videos, but they like the little short clips. So maybe we can do something like that where we sort of highlight this.
I actually, Deb Shockey helped me with this, and she said, you need to get on TikTok. That's where all the young people are.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And
Does
so,
she do that?
yeah, she's on there. Yeah.
Are you on TikTok, Nico?
I haven't used it much, but I am, and it blows up very fast. You can,
Yeah.
you know how it is. A lot of people are using it, and they're interested in this stuff. There's so much. There's, I believe, at the top of billions of views for people typing in metaphysics, or what they'll
Wow.
type in for magic, or superpower abilities, supernatural, those type of words. And it's the highest in the search engine, and TikTok's really banging it out.
Do you get TikTok in Russia? Are you have access to that site?
We have TikTok, but we don't do it. Actually, I think Nico will help us to invite new students.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, TikTok is big with the kids. I mean, it's sort of like
Yeah.
demo.
Yeah.
It's almost like if you get the Leone's juggler there, that's the kind of stuff that people, they just go crazy and they share it all. And but you need the young people, because us old people, it's like you pointed out with the seeing, is that for an older person, you have to change that mindset where it's easier just to keep doing what you've always done.
But I see our real students who's looking for us, even if they find Wendy before and then us. I think they don't spend a lot of time in the internet. They
No?
used to read books,
Oh, is that
do
right?
real deals. Yeah, because I think now internet and TikTok are more for entertainment,
Yeah.
for relax, for pleasure. But I think our people a little bit different already,
Yeah.
and they're looking for something additional. No,
Wow.
we'll see.
Yeah.
Are you encouraged in terms of what's going on? Are you encouraged that in terms of, you've done it for many, many decades? I mean, is it picking up? Are we winning or losing the battle?
Are we losing what?
Are we winning or losing the battle? Like, you're trying to get this message out. Is it better than it was 20 years ago?
It was different.
Okay.
I couldn't say it was better and worse.
Yeah, because that's what we're hoping for, is that the consciousness rises where people understand that they have these abilities, because in school, they're not taught this. They're taught that you only have the 5 senses. That's it. Everything else is woo-woo. It's nonsense.
What is interesting about education now, almost everywhere now, people use the same books, people watch the same movies, like, they visit the same courses. So in the majority, they have the same type of brain. So for those who little bit see in the future and want to have some benefits in the future, of course, they are looking for something really special.
Yeah.
And I think it's not really for everybody. Not each profession needs high working brain. Maybe it's not necessary at all. But those people who feel their power, their wishes, their intent to change this world, really,
Yeah,
they could find us.
Mhm.
wow. Nico?
Absolutely. She's totally right. I like the spot that she was speaking about the books, because a lot of the older books, they have a lot of ancient wisdom in them, and nowadays there's a lot of filters over the books and a lot of mainstream information with people puppet stuff with their primary consciousness. They're not really expanding their consciousness to a secondary where they're more creative, where they're more open, and there's less limits. So how the time is different now and how we're using this technology and information. With apps, there's more people that get on apps now than there is surfing the web. And those people that Marina just mentioned that are surfing the web just merely for entertainment, let's say if we do give an example of a video blows up on TikTok with 3 million views, you're going to have less people reach out compared to a video on YouTube that has only 2,000 views. You have more people reaching out on YouTube than you would on TikTok, because the way the algorithm's set on these platforms, where they have a purpose or a state of entertainment only, or where they're coming from or where they're looking for. So as we know, human potential are side effects of our identity. It's who we are. And there's people that are just strictly seeking power, or people that are really living in love, and people that are also studying consciousness with metaphysics and seeing how these abilities can tap into deeper studies of human potential, the evolution of the planet, and etc. Right?
Wow. Fascinating. It's a fascinating conversation. Is anybody got more questions? Joan, I see Joan is here. If she's got a question from the group. I'm interested in doing whatever we can to get the links and get that stuff. And I realize what you're saying about Facebook. When you mentioned that, I did one with a medical intuitive who's considered by a high level intelligence guy to be 95 to 100% accurate. And she described to me that she was just overwhelmed with people contacting her after my interview with her, where she was pretty accurate in what she was saying. And so I didn't realize that there was that kind of stuff, but it does make sense that there would be different algorithms, and you got to figure that out. And that's where the young people come in, because I call them the young guns. They're like the people who are open to new ideas, and they know how a computer works, and they know what people are looking at and stuff like that. And they're able to bring these new ideas out quite quickly and understand and not get intimidated by apps and stuff like that.
I have a question for Leonie.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I enjoy a picture on your wall. Could you tell us a couple of words who painted your pictures and what it is?
Christine Dennett. She does intuitive meditation readings for people, and she puts it into picture form, the images that she receives and the messages that she receives. And she did this because our whole family had individual readings with her, so she did this for us as a family.
Wow.
And it's all to do with the energetics of our family connected with Australia and our journey that we're having together. So yeah, they're quite beautiful, aren't they?
A really interesting
Very
stage
much.
mixed in these pictures. Really interesting. Да?
Потому что на самом деле энергетика приблизительно так и выглядит.
Because we saw a lot of tries to fix energy, but on your picture, very close to the way we see. So really great work. I will show you a little bit our artist, like you see.
Wow.
Also really.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's difficult to describe what we see and then to paint it when those who successful, really valuable person for us, because sometimes it's easier just to show, make your energy like this. Easier to show a picture than to describe what need to change.
So who is the artist that did those ones on your wall, Marina?
No, it's not our student. It's a talented man who, because of accident, started to see energy.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, you hear that quite often when you get a trauma thing where people can see, or they can see fractals or mathematics.
Yeah, it happens, and a lot of people already born with certain abilities. So there are, like, two common way to be born, or after accident. We prefer to teach people. Maybe it's not so fast, but without damage.
Exactly.
Fascinating.
Right. You teach people how to be a dry bush to burn, or how to be flammable.
Wonderful. Okay, I guess we'll leave it at that. If nobody has any more questions, we'll just try to make sure these links get there so that people can find all the different countries and follow up on this, because it's I say it's very, very important. Maybe one more question, and this has to do with I'm very much into the whole UFO thing and the experiencers there, and what they are sort of reporting is it matches. It's like the idea that the paranormal is not extraordinary. It's just beyond what we actually know. One of the things is the 360-degree vision. A lot of the people who have been on ships will describe this 360-degree vision, which out-of-body experience people experience, and near-death experience people is anybody got any comments about seeing in 360 degrees? Because I think that's basically what this vision is about, that the target can be anywhere. It doesn't have to be right in front of you.
Yeah. If you're able to see something in front of you, then open your eyes and check. Little bit more training, and you're able to see it. Let's say 360 degrees. And for us, it's more interesting remote vision because of bigger distance.
Yeah.
And then not distance, one obstacle, then distance and time, another type of obstacles, also interesting to get information from past, from future. And of course, the vision of energy. For us, it's important because we use energy when we teach people and when we learn from other masters. So not just energy because it's beautiful, it's because we use it during our work.
In the United States, I've done a lot of sort of work with people, and some people will report that the American government or the intelligence people are interested and they sort of follow what they're doing. They may not, talk to them. Have you had any interaction that indicates that the Russian government is interested in following what you're doing over the years?
No, in our government during this 30 years, like about us knows there. Some of them even bring us students.
There you go.
So we teach them, and from other countries and certain services, military services also, like secret services, send us as students, so they know, and I can say they can.
Yeah, that they do. It makes sense that people in government are the same as you and I. They have interests, they have experiences that open them up, and they follow it up. So I'm glad that you're getting some feedback and helping in that area, because I know in the United States, I know very high level sort of people who've got a lot of talent. They will report. And I remember the one, I could tell you, he asked me, or he asked the government people that were on his property all the time, why are you here? And then he said, well, he says, it appears that you have some contacts and they seem to like you. And they don't like us because they don't talk to us. So we're here to find out, what are they telling you? And that's that idea is if you get somebody who's got the talent, it makes sense to just find out what are they doing that we're not doing. There's just something they're experiencing that we aren't, that we've got some prejudice or some bad ideas.
No, like it's impossible to say like all of them. Like, we connect with certain open mind people.
Yeah.
So if they're able to make such decisions, such changes, they do it. Like, but sometimes it's not possible.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that a lot of successful in this life people, and doesn't matter which country it is, they use such abilities, and in government, in royal families and great business family, really powerful. Actually, those people who make entertainment, good entertainment, like movies, as you see now, so many, there are so many good movies which prepare human brain for unusual abilities. We could see and read about teleportation, visions, sort of Superman stories. Actually, it's preparation. It's possible.
Yeah.
And those who are small now, they believe it.
Yeah. Exactly.
They understand it's a fairy tale now, but tomorrow, who knows?
Yeah. That's like the guy who invented quantum physics, Max Planck, said, you do not convince your opponent that he's wrong by showing him evidence. This idea that things advance one funeral at a time, and the new generation is not offended with the idea. And you see that in movies, that it's not threatening. It's not like I come to you and say, you're wrong, here's how it works or whatever. It's indirect. It's almost like this idea of little kids with magical stuff and stuff. And you ask them, is this possible? Sure. They know. I mean, and then as they grow older, they get trained to go the other way into the old school, and they sort of lose it, which I think indicated where a lot of kids will lose this. Is this true? Like if you train them, and then when they get to be about 13 or 14, they'll sort of lose the ability, and they're not training anymore, or they're kids.
No, but if they lose, it's like it was bicycle. If you remember, you did it before and you want to use it again, it will be faster to refresh your memory than to learn from the beginning.
Yeah.
So everything is possible. And I think it's important to let people understand it's possible. There is such ability. And then it's up to you. Will you use it?
Yeah.
Or will not?
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you're doing the work. I'm glad everybody's doing this. I'm happy to promote it and to try to move, especially with the ions. Have you been contacted by ions, Nico?
Ions?
Ions Institute in California.
Oh,
They-
no,
it's-
no.
Okay, because they're very interested in this kind of phenomena. They're looking for people to, do the tests and stuff like that. And I think they're fairly above board in terms of being honest and doing the right sort of tests. Because the Dean Radin, who runs it, actually, he's got experiences himself in paranormal stuff, so they understand and they've been working on this. So we're going to do what we can to try to make sure that that's the one institute that I think that in the United States, I guess maybe the Monroe Institute as well, where they will actually follow up on some of the stuff that people here are doing.
Exactly. That'd be great. And since I've seen that blue orb in the house, it's been here every single day, and it's actually a blue fire that floats around the living room from 6 o'clock p.m. to 7:30 p.m. So I got my tripod set up tonight and
Wow.
to record the phenomenon, and it's really neat and amazing. And when I believe it starts happening when I'm like engagement with somebody, quantum entanglement, or I'm in prayer, I feel the deepest feelings of love, joy, and gratitude in my soul. And practicing levitation training as well, because I was looking up some representations of the blue flame from some past articles, and it spoke about levitations and it spoke about the deepest feelings of love. And I'm like, oh wow, I didn't research this prior, but the phenomenon's occurring and it's beautiful. One more
Beautiful.
thing,
Yep.
Joan, is that your real neck on the picture there?
Oh,
There
that's
she
a
is.
little-
Pleasure to see you.
I'm just listening. This is out of my league, but very interesting. Thank you.
Never too old. Never too old.
Never too old. Still
Yeah.
trying.
Yeah, this is spectacular stuff. That's why I said to Leone that we should run an Olympics for kids, because that was so impressive that, instead of who can swim the fastest, it's like who can go through the obstacle course with their blindfold the fastest and do all this kind of stuff. And when you see these little kids doing it and they're just lined up and they're just all excited and they're jumping and cheering people on and stuff, it's so amazing that if you could get that on, public, people would look at it and go like, wow, it's just incredible. They just totally different attitude. So
It is. Or the bow and arrow with the blindfold I've seen on Wendy's page
Yeah.
as well.
yeah. Yeah, that's especially for little kids that will get interested in that and say, "Oh, I'd like to do that too." And then they pick it up indirectly and they learn the power and the benefits from it on the side. So
That's
Okay.
You activate a 5-year-old in about 3 seconds.
yeah, yeah,
And
that-
they say, why do I need to do this? Because I can see with my physical eyes. What's
Exactly.
all the fuss about?
yeah, that's right.
where I experience a lot with the blindfold is taking it in the grocery store, and I'll have a friend with me, and he'll have me be independent as possible, and it takes you really far. I ended up in the back of restaurants before and all the rest, or even outside in the parking lot, as long as I got a friend with me, and really feeling and sensing and going through it. We're able
Yeah.
to take the limits off, but yeah, it's neat.
Wow, the reactions you must get are incredible.
Yeah, you know it.
Okay, we'll leave it
Hello,
at that, and hopefully we can do this again, and maybe we'll put some highlights from some of the training people have done and stuff they're doing, and we'll go from there and try to move this on as far as we can and make the world a better place than it was when we came here.
Sure.
Thank you.
That's the plan.
Beautiful.
Darn it, I
Thank
missed
you,
almost the
Marina
whole
and
meeting.
It's on Facebook, and it'll
Mhm.
also be posted on YouTube channels. Wendy will have it on hers, and I'll have it on mine once my assistant gets back from suntanning in Florida.
All right.
Okay,
Well,
thank
Grant,
you
I
very
do have
much,
to tell you that
everybody.
Thank you.
Thank
I
you.
love your name because I share the same name, my man.
There you go. Yeah, there you go. Okay, Grant. Talk to you later.
Bye.
Have a good day, everybody.
Bye.